Hey, Lions Nation! We're back with another exclusive video bringing you all the latest news about our beloved Detroit Lions. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss anything about the team. Now, let's get into the news. Detroit woke up to a new weight in the air, the kind of electricity you feel on mornings when the sky is the color of steel and the wind seems to be carrying noise from the stadium even when there's no game. The city understands muscle and grit and long odds better than most places on Earth, and it knows, in a way that lives in the bones, what it means when a pass rusher with a name like a thunderclap steps off a plane and pulls on a blue hoodie. Joey BOSA is a Lion, and before the ink could even dry, the tone around Allen Park changed from hope to certainty, from maybe if a few things break our way, to go find a quarterback and make him see ghosts. It felt immediate, decisive, like a switch thrown in a factory, machines humming, sparks popping, the line roaring back to life. Dan Campbell didn't need to pound a table or chew a podium. He just smiled that bulldog grin of his and said 6 words that rolled through the locker room like a drum line. Now we hunt on every snap. The first thing anyone talked about was fit, and the truth is the fit is so clean it feels like it should have existed already. Detroit's identity under Campbell and Aaron Glenn has been aggression built from discipline, a defensive front that wins its one-on-ones, compresses the pocket, and forces throws into windows shaped like keyholes. Aiden Hutchinson plays with a whirring motor and a technician's hands. Alim McNeil has turned himself into a forklift with feet. Josh Paschal and John Kaminsky do so much of the dirty work that film nerds light up when they talk about them. Add BOSA to that front, and the angles change in ways that make offensive line coaches curse on Mondays. Hutchinson can go wider or tighter or stand up and loop inside, knowing BOSA can set a hard edge with hips like a vice and arms that have been educated by years of NFL trench warfare. Even before he takes a live snap, coordinators are scribbling arrows on hotel notepads trying to figure out which back or tight, and they can afford to yank out of routes just to chip number 97. The answer, more often than not, is not enough, because the Lions already make you respect play action on offense and a quick strike seam with Sam Laporta, and now on defense they're going to steal your down and distance and your dignity in the same series. In the meeting rooms, the buzz came from veterans who've seen cycles of hype come and go. You know the look. Arms crossed, back against the wall, eyes that look like they're focused on the projector but are really scanning the room to see who's faking it. Those guys don't fake it when a player like BOSA shows up. He shook hands with the trainers first, then the equipment staff, then the media relations people, between a whirl of installing terminology, swapping edge calls and front tags, and doing the universal lineman ritual of finding a place in the weight room where the bars feel right in your hands. When he stepped onto the practice field, the sound changed subtly, an audible tightening of tempo. A few more whistles hit half a beat earlier, music nudged louder. You could feel the difference in how the tackles set their feet and how the quarterbacks sped up their drops. There's a smell that comes with real pass rush, the mix of grass, rubber, and a hint of hot metal from cleats digging and hands striking, and it was everywhere. Campbell talked about rush lanes with bad intentions, and Aaron Glenn leaned into the chalk talk, drawing up 5 and 6-man looks that weren't really blitzes so much as illusions. Sim pressures where the slot feigned heat and then bailed into the hook while McNeil slanted. BOSA walked the tackle back like he was wearing wheels, and Hutchinson knifed inside to a B-gap the width of opportunity. The premise is simple and cruel. You want to play too high and keep a lid on Detroit's offense? Good. Then your quarterback needs long, patient drives, and long, patient drives don't survive 3rd and 9 with BOSA and Hutchinson walking both tackles into the lap of the passer. Glenn started mixing in mint fronts and bare looks just for fun, because with a star edge who understands leverage like an old-school wrestler, your fronts become Lego bricks. The manual says build a square, you build a battering ram. It's not just the scheme. It's the way the addition is being metabolized by the roster's psyche. You can see it in Jack Campbell's stance, a hair more coiled, ready to knife through a guard who's late to climb because he's terrified to overset on the edge. You can hear it in C.J. Gardner-Johnson's chirp level, which was already operatic but now carries the precise arrogance of a secondary that senses the ball is coming out hot and high and often. You can taste it in the offensive huddle, too, because iron sharpens iron and Penei Sewell is not the type of competitor to take a day off when a fresh anvil just rolled into the building. Good luck to any edge in the NFC North who thinks practice reps against Sewell and Deckard during BOSA weeks won't feel like a low-speed car crash. Those collisions are going to make Sundays feel almost gentle by comparison. In Detroit, they count moments. They stack them. The way a crowd's inhale turns into a shout on third down. The way the city's factories once synchronized to the same whistle at noon. The way proud franchises mark their ages with names etched into the bricks. This felt like one of those moments. The NFC North is a fistfight when the leaves turn and a chess match when winter sets in, and nothing tilts a chessboard like a queen who can move in any direction and take whatever piece she wants. The Packers will try to slow it with tempo. The Bears will lean on a quarterback who thinks he can outrun gravity. The Vikings will spread the field and dare the Lions to play small. None of those plans cures a collapsing pocket. BOSA murders passing concepts during the long second between a quarterback's first hitch and his second. That's where games die. On that second hitch that never finishes, that step that becomes a lunge, the lunge that becomes a slide, the slide that becomes desperate elbow torque and a ball flung to the wrong color jersey. BOSA's game has always been a study in controlled violence. It's not runaway freight train energy, and it's not just hand-fighting ballet. It's geometry with a mean streak. Watch him set up a long arm on the third series after conditioning a tackle with 2 snaps of pure speed. Pop to the chest plate, hips under him, eyes in the backfield. Feel for the quarterback's depth. Then either convert speed to power with a spine-bending forklift or slip the hands and cross the man's face like a door closing on a storm. He doesn't waste diesels on dead rushes. He reads shoulders, spots a heel click, waits for a punch that loses the inside hand, and treats it like an invitation. That is going to echo inside Ford Field, where the turf is fast, the noise is a living thing, and opposing offenses already have a hard time communicating across the line when the upper bowl empties its lungs. Put BOSA on one side and Hutchinson on the other, and you can play games the way kids play with magnets. Push and pull until the metal snaps into place. The Lions understand the narrative weight, but they are not interested in narrative 4. Narrative sake. This move was about leverage, on the field, and in the trajectory of a franchise that has been steadily removing excuses one by one. Don't have enough rush? Fixed. Need more third. And 7 wins? Covered. Want to close November and December without asking your secondary to hold coverage for 4 Mississippis? Done. Pressure travels, and it simplifies football. A defense that last season had to choose between bracketing a number 1 and sending help from the second level can now make the greedy call, because the front 4 is bent on creating panic. And panic, as every defensive coach has muttered into a headset since the dawn of the forward pass, creates turnovers. Tip balls, forced fumbles, rushed throws, bad reads. Coin flips turn into falls of the house. Points off turnovers have a way of defining playoff games in January, and January is precisely where this franchise expects to live now. There's a quiet layer to all of this that shouldn't be overlooked. The conditioning staff and how they plan to mesh BOSA's routines with Detroit's. The players' prehab, the band work, the eccentric load phases, the in-season maintenance sessions on soft tissue, all of that is being integrated into the daily choreography at Allen Park. BOSA is meticulous, and the Lions have been deliberate about building an infrastructure that respects veterans' bodies while demanding relentless play speed. The weight room had an extra rack cleared before he even arrived. The nutrition staff adjusted fueling plans to match his practice tempo. The analytics group pushed packet after packet to the coaches, showing how his win rate on stunts increases when he aligns a half-step tighter and even fronts on second and long. This is what big moves look like when a franchise has its organizational wiring clean. Not a splash and a headline, but 1,000 small decisions made faster and better because everyone knows the destination. On the field, the first week is going to look like a menu of greatest hits while the staff tests how much they can install without overfilling the plate. Early down wide. 9 with BOSA's inside foot tilted to threaten a straight line to the back shoulder, paired with a 3-tech who can punch and pry a guard out of his spot. NASCAR package on third down with Hutch inside, BOSA outside, McNeil playing bully ball, and a spinner mugging the A-gap to pull the center's eyes away just long enough for chaos to blossom. Sim pressure where Gardner Johnson walks up and threatens the edge only to bail into a robber while BOSA squeezes down the tackle's outside knee and folds the pocket like a suitcase. Glenn will show just enough to keep the next opponent up late, then change the picture post-snap, so the quarterback's first read evaporates in smoke and the second read is swallowed by fear. Before we move on, take a second to drop a like and subscribe. That way, you'll stay up to date with every exclusive Lions update, and you'll even have a chance to win an official Detroit Lions jersey. Let's keep going. The offense will feel it too. Jared Goff has been superb at operating the offense Campbell and Ben Johnson built like a piece of precision machinery. The offense doesn't just benefit from short fields after sacks and strips. It benefits from the psychological thump of watching its own defense end drives with cruelty. Football teams feed off each other's violence and composure. A 3rd and 12 sack that erupts into a thunder roll inside Ford Field becomes a first-play shot outside the numbers to Jameson Williams. And now those 7 extra points aren't just points. They are evidence that the plan isn't a dream, but a system. Offensive linemen practice better against elite rush. Receivers run sharper routes when the practice horn sounds 5 minutes earlier because the defense took care of business in a team period. A roster is a democracy of habits. Add one great habit disguised as a player, and suddenly everyone votes the right way. There's a particular kind of anticipation building around matchups that were already circled. Primetime in December, lights white hot. A quarterback who likes to pat the ball and hold for something greedy. And now he has to do it while a crowd counts loud, and a blue jersey is bending the corner like gravity forgot to apply to him. Without naming names, there are tackles in the conference who live off length and timing rather than brute force. And those are the type BOSA has feasted on for years. He draws out their punches, watches their feet stop, and then wins with hands that punish hesitation. He'll bait the overset with a hard outside stem, and then scissor through the inside shoulder with a move that looks simple on TV, but is the product of hours seeing the game like a chessboard where pawns have bad knees. Inside the building, the leadership ripple is already visible. BOSA's voice is not theatrical, but it carries weight. He doesn't give speeches. He gives a look, then a suggestion. Hey, your second step on the speed to power is too long. Shorten it and keep your toe in. He's a library of pass rush solutions, and that is gold for a room full of young linemen trying to learn the language of pressure. Hutchinson, already a student of the craft, just got a co-professor. Pascal, a brawler at heart, just picked up new vocabulary for beating independent hands. Even interior guys get better when they watch how BOSA sets up his moves, timing the twist so the guard feels the edge first and then never quite finds the looper is an art form. What you should expect over the next month is incremental magic, pressures that become sacks, sacks that become strip sacks that become defensive touchdowns. That's not wild optimism. That's the predictable math of collapsing pockets. If you want to understand how this changes the division, look at how play callers respond to fear. They throw more screens. They cut-split their receivers and quick-set their tackles. They bring in a 6th offensive lineman and call it heavy, so it feels like a power-run world. But really they're trying to send a message to their own sideline. We hear you. We're trying to keep the quarterback clean. Those responses have downstream costs. More screens invite more trap coverages and more corners sitting on gifts. Heavier personnel compresses route trees and lets safeties play downhill with mean ideas. Quick game puts the ball in harm's way against linebackers who blitz sugared gaps and then bail with eyes like hawks. Glenn and Campbell know this dance. They're not just adding a pass rusher. They're adding a lever that pries open the other team's tendencies until something valuable falls out. Walk around the city and you'll hear the change in the small talk. Barbershops, corner stores, plant gates as the shifts change. Did you see BOSA in that hoodie? Did you see Hutch smiling like that? Did you hear the way Campbell said, "We're coming"? There's an old feeling waking up, something that lived dormant while the franchise rebuilt brick by brick. The team's core has already taught the league that Detroit isn't a cute story, it's a program. Now, with BOSA, the program becomes meaner at the exact spots where football is decided. Put it this way, a Detroit touchdown already felt like a declaration, a Detroit 3rd and 8 now feels like a verdict. Those are the moments that turn seasons from good to unignorable. Of course, the calendar still has its say. There will be cold days, sloppy fields, long trips, short weeks, and opponents who punch back. That's football's nature. What? Changes now is the floor for the defense on days when the offense doesn't have its fastball. Pressure is the most reliable traveling skill set in the sport. Rain doesn't make a bull rush less cruel. Wind doesn't soften a long arm to the chest. Crowd noise in another stadium can't quiet hands that know exactly where a tackle's sternum will be at the top of his set. Detroit can win ugly with this. And in January, ugly is beautiful. The first time BOSA knifes through a chip-in slide protection that looked airtight on a whiteboard, punches the ball loose, and turns Ford Field into a jet engine, you'll feel the season tilt. It won't just be the points or the sack total. It will be the way the sideline explodes, the way helmets slap shoulders, the way a defense that already believed now acts like a group with proof in hand. You'll see Glenn calling plays like a conductor who knows his brass section can blast the back row out of their seats. You'll see Campbell stalk the white stripe with a clock-eating grin. You'll see opposing quarterbacks blink more than usual when they look left and right before a snap and realize there's no safe side. In the quieter moments, film sessions after the stadium empties, late nights when the building hum is the HVAC and the distant clank of plates in the weight room, you'll also see a different kind of work. BOSA pausing tape, rewinding, pointing at a left tackle's outside foot on snap count 2, and saying, "See how he's loading? Next time stab, then rip under." You'll see rookies scribbling a note they'll carry to practice and turn into a pressure that flips a drive. You'll see veterans nodding because great players don't just increase the top end. They raise the middle class of a roster. Give a team like this one a handful of incremental wins every Sunday, and by the time the snow stacks on the Comerica Park seats, you're looking at a defense nobody wants to block. There's a phrase Campbell likes, earn the right. It means you don't inherit big moments. You stack small, excellent choices until the big moments have no choice but to show up. This is one of those choices. Not flashy for the sake of flash, but loud because it's true. Joey Bosa and Honolulu Blue is a sentence that carries its own thunder. It announces a season that will be measured in sacks on third down, in balls that flutter, in drives that end with punters jogging out wearing the 1,000-yard stare of men who know their job is about to be booed by 90,000 people who paid to see fireworks. It announces Sundays where you can feel the opponent's fear through the TV, where the broadcast opens on a shot of Bosa flexing his fingers inside his gloves and you understand, instinctively, that someone's plan is about to be ruined. Detroit has always admired workers who bring lunch pails and leave with dents in them. In the gallery of blue-collar saints, edge rushers who tilt games have their own stained glass window. The thing about stained glass is that it looks prettiest when the light hits it from behind, when there's a glow that makes shapes into stories. The light is behind the Lions now. The glow is real. And in the middle of that glow stands a man who has spent his career making quarterbacks hear footsteps in empty rooms. Joey Bosa is a Lion. Pressure isn't coming later. It's here, right now, coiled in his stance, alive in the building, stamped on the schedule in permanent ink. The city knows what to do with that. The league, too. Adjust your protections. Practice your quick game. Say a prayer over your tackle's ankles. The hunt has begun, and the clock is already ticking loud enough to rattle the glass. We bring you the latest Lions news every single day. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And of course, drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's news. Your voice makes a difference for Lions Nation. See you in the next video.